Hey everybody, what's going on? It's me, John D. Villarreal, getting ready here, trying to figure out, using a little new thing here for my show on Newstalk 1040. Need to be able to add someone in here, and that's what I'm trying to figure out now. We are trying to do that. Here we go. Okay, there we go. There we go. Got it. All right, we're getting ready to go live on the air here. So just 1 second. So we're doing a couple things here, getting ready. Yeah. Please. Okay. So we're just getting things. So stand by. We're getting things set up here in the background using Rumble streaming live. So it's a little bit different here. So we are doing that and just trying to make sure that we're getting everything set up here. We might be a couple minutes delayed here on the air where it's getting the light and everything. So right. And then let's see here. Let's go. Okay. Yes. Okay. Checking 1, 2, 3. Test. Yeah, I heard that. We're just getting things handled right there. So let's see here. I think so. Hey everybody, John D. Villarreal here at John D. Villarreal Radio Show. We just got the radio feed here, Newstalk 1040. Hopefully everyone's having a great day. Tax day today, April 15th. We're gonna be joined by Paul at Villarreal as well here. Okay. I cannot hear them. Okay. Hey everybody, John D. Villarreal here, the John D. Villarreal Radio Show on Newstalk 1040. Just a heads up, we're using new streaming software. Oh, here we go. Is that going to work? Hold on. I think their audio is messed up here. We're using Rumble streaming software. Really like it a lot, actually. But I'm just trying. This is the first time I've done it with the radio show, so I'm just trying to work out a few kinks. There's just certain things that you're just not going to be able to figure out until you deal with it. I think that the radio station is muted, but I'm not. So hopefully. Hey everybody, what's going on? It's me, John D. Villarreal here at the John D. Villarreal Radio Show. We just are figuring some stuff out. Happy to have everybody here. Thank you so much for your patience. It's tax day, April 15th. Just a heads up what we're doing here, what we have done, because we want to continue to evolve and expand. And I think the Newstalk 1040 audience is going to be very happy about it. We are streaming live to Rumble. We have Rumble. We have added Rumble now. Pretty soon we're going to be adding locals. We should still be having LinkedIn, although I may have to go do something else to sort of enable that to go live. It might have to wait for the break or something like that. Obviously, we're still on LinkedIn. YouTube and Facebook. And of course, all over the greater Tampa Bay area where I'm at in Sarasota, Newstalk 1040. Okay, the greater Tampa Bay area here. So Wesley Chapel, downtown St. Pete, downtown Tampa, and all around. So much going on. Oh my gosh, we have so much going on. It's not even funny. We've got stuff going on in the Middle East there with the attack on Israel from Iran. We've got all kinds of stuff going on. Trump in a New York courtroom today. We've got things happening with new polling with Biden. We've got focus groups. Focus groups are starting to fall apart big time for Biden. Mark Halpern had a focus group. We've got a lot of stuff going on over here. Let me bring in Paul Villarreal. Hopefully Paul is, can we hear you, Paul?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can, yes. Talk to me. Lots going on right now. We're going to get into this Israel thing. I've got to take on it. You and I talked for quite some time before the show to kind of work through some of the stuff, because obviously it's a very interesting, comprehensive, complicated issue. Also, might tell if we get to it, I don't know. There's so many things to talk about. If we do get to it, we may be talking also about Fallout, this series. I just did a little quick review on that one. That's very interesting, drop from Amazon. But I guess the big news right now is we've got stuff going on in Israel. We've got stuff going on with Trump in the courtroom. Tell me what's going on out there with Trump.
Yeah, so today is the first day of the Alvin Bragg, Stormy Daniels case in New York City, in Manhattan there, with Judge Merchan. And Trump is in court right now, as I believe. He is still in the courtroom right now. Merchan told him, I think, that he basically has to come to court every single day. And this is a trial is expected to last like 6 to 8 weeks. So I guess, he told him he's supposed to be there all the time, which means, of course, that could hamper President Trump's fundraising. It could hamper his campaigning, rallying, and so forth. And look, he's been on a roll fundraising, big time roll. So if people believe that this trial has a lot to do with apparently election interference, some would say, then it's definitely accomplishing that goal if he's going to have to be there every single day for the next 2 months. So we're basically in the jury selection process. That's where they're starting, as you know, as a law school grad. And we're just going to wait to see until President Trump comes out, and I'm sure he'll make a statement, and we'll go from there.
Absolutely wild, no doubt about it. It's a crazy situation of what's going on with this Trump. What are people saying about it out there? Like, what's the vibe of it? Are people happy, not happy? Or do they feel like Trump's getting punked out on this? Like, what's the deal with all that?
So people on the left are happy, and almost kind of, it's weird because I get a lot of, I post a lot of just like factual information on my X feed. And so sometimes liberals or people on the left will quote it or react to it or whatever. And there's happiness, but there's also just kind of like almost like a kind of scattered rage, almost like, Donnie, we've got him. Just kind of this, I don't know how to characterize it. It's kind of whatever. I mean, it's different. People on the right, like Representative Elise Stefanik from New York, basically said that Judge Merchan is corrupt. And she mentioned that that Merchan told Trump he has to be there every single day. And she said it was election interference. A lot of people on the right, a lot of neutral commentators, people like Professor Jonathan Turley, have said that this case is quote unquote legally absurd. I think a lot of people believe that if there are convictions in this case, that they're going to possibly be overturned on appeal. So I think that people regard this as the weakest of the cases against President Trump, but it may be the only case that gets resolved before the election. So, there's definitely focus on it, but I think on the right, there's kind of a mixture of derision and just kind of like disbelief that this is actually taking place.
Interesting. Very, very interesting about that. And so has anyone gotten into the situation of like how long this is going to go on, and what impact, if there is a political aspect to this, and the political impact of this? Have we talked about that? Does this help Trump, hurt Trump? I mean, he's off the campaign trails, maybe not so many of the rallies and stuff. But I mean, have we looked into that? Has that even been discussed?
Well, I know that there's been polling done, like, if Trump's convicted, will that affect you? Will it not affect you? And so forth. I don't think it's been a very decisive in terms of the polling, because I think this is the weakest of the cases. I mean, this would make him, if he is convicted in this case, this would make him technically a felon, even though this is derived from basically a kind of a campaign finance issue, basically, most of which the time when you have a campaign finance concern, you might get fined. But so this isn't like the January 6th case or something like that. So I think there's less hubbub about this. You and I both have observed the recent video done by Mark Halpern, the political reporter, where he spoke and talked with 8 undecided voters from Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. He talked to them about the cases, about this case, and about all the cases. I didn't watch all of that, but I saw the first person he spoke to, the first voter he talked to, was a man from Pennsylvania. And he asked him, "What do you think about the cases?" And the man was like, "Look, I think this stuff is a farce. I think that this is just basically they're trying to railroad him and so on and so forth." So there are definitely people out there who are kind of not going for this. And this is somebody who is an undecided voter who I don't even know if this person voted for Trump in 2020 and they don't like it. So there is that vibe out there. I think it's kind of all around the horn what we're seeing with this response.
Now we've got this here from MSNBC headline: New York versus Trump. Quote, 1,500 New Yorkers will participate in Trump's jury. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on here and about Trump. This is definitely their major headline here. And it looks like looking at their feed here, they're talking about Trump, they feel like that's the major news to go with. Go ahead.
This is Jason Miller, who is a senior advisor for Trump on his campaign right now, basically put up one of those things where it's like, okay, here's all the television channels at 8:00 or whatever it is, or whatever it was. All of them are covering this. This is the main story of the day. I think for outlets that might not be favorable to Trump, they're going to cover this wall to wall because the concept I think the belief is that this can maybe damage his reputation. So if that's what you want to see, then you're going to cover this, every little bit of it. But this is definitely the overpowering story of the day. There's no question about it. It's anywhere you look, they're talking about this. And you mentioned it a few minutes ago. The other main story I think that's in the background is Israel.
Right.
And of course, what happened with Iran and Israel over this past weekend. I think if there's a second story fighting for air right now, that's probably it. And in addition to that, there are protests, kind of heightened protests today.
We're seeing that. We're seeing the Golden Gate Bridge.
The Golden Gate Bridge in Chicago. So that's also going on. I think those are the two main stories happening right now.
And we're seeing some of that. And in fact, I'm going to Fox News right here, and they're talking about the protests. They're talking about Israel. The Trump thing was up there, but now the Trump thing is kind of down here down here, sort of in that second level of stories for Fox News. So that's kind of interesting in terms of the editorial judgment there. Yes, definitely we need to talk about the Israel thing, no doubt about it. And we're going to get right into that. In fact, I guess I should tee some of that up and we'll go through some of these things. I also want to talk about some of the polls. I also want to talk about where we're at with the campaign, because I think things have definitely shifted now. And I think, some of these focus groups, we're seeing, I think, a little bit of a desperation on the left. I think they're getting very, very worried. I think they plan to run on abortion and, Trump's a criminal and all this. And I think it's all falling apart. I think they were going to try to hit the narrative of the Bidenomics and the Biden economy. And you just don't know how good it really is. Let us tell you how good it really is. And none of those things are working. There was a viral video, I think from TikTok, or it went around the social media, of this kid that basically said, I think from Georgia, basically makes 3 times the poverty level, and he's crushed, can't live, can't barely pay his bills. He's freaking out. And he's like, I don't want to hear from the TV telling me how good it is, because it's not that good. But first, we do need to start with Israel. You had Iran attack Israel over the weekend. And definitely it was a big deal. It was a huge deal. It really, there's a lot of things that happen there. And this is NBC News. So let's get right on this. NBC News here. Hold on. Timeout. Let me share the screen on this one for the live audience here, on the live streaming audience. Let's do that right now. And hold on one second. This is from NBC News right here. Okay. Headline, quote, Iran attack. And this is just an hour ago. Okay. That was updated. Quote, Iran attack live updates. Israeli response to attack may be, quote unquote, imminent. And look, this is a very interesting situation right now. This is a very, very interesting situation right now that we have to deal with. One second, let me do this, and there we go. This is it, and you're seeing there, right there. You've seen some of the attack that happened over the weekend. What should Israel do? Okay, you've got what happened there is you had Israel that launched Iran that launched 300 drones and missiles. Okay. And this, according to Iran, was in response to Israel striking their embassy, I believe, in Syria, in Damascus. I believe that's right. And we're not going to be able to cover everything right now because there's just too much going on. Okay. There's just too much going on right now. Let me just pause that there and go back here. And it's just there. This is a serious situation. This is a very serious situation. And I think it causes us to think about a lot of things. Now, I only have 6 minutes here until the end of the break. So I know I'm not going to be able to deal with all of this now. We'll come back to this screen here in a second. But basically, it's like this. We were already at a point where Biden was calling Netanyahu allegedly. You've had a lot of protests. You've had other world leaders saying things. You had President Trump saying that Israel, I believe the quote was, needs to wrap it up quick, and that Israel was losing the PR war. You had a lot of people talking about what was going on in Gaza, that war or that military action, whatever you want to call it, has been going on for over 6 months. And again, and I apologize ahead of time, I may get some things wrong here, and Paul will help correct. We talked for literally an hour and a half before this and working out what I wanted to say on this one. So, we may not get all of it right here. Hopefully I'll be a little faster in this, but I mean, if I am a little bit circuitous, it's because this is a very complicated issue and I do not want anything taken out of context here. And it's a complicated issue. Okay. The headline is this, and we'll dive into the how and the why and get to that. You had Tucker Carlson having a priest from Bethlehem on there and saying that, hey, that these wars are hurting Christians and what are we doing? You have a lot of people, the Candace Owens versus Ben Shapiro thing, the MAGA versus interventionalists, all these types of stuff. My wife's Israeli. I've been to Israel. We can trace our roots back to Sephardic Jews. I believe that's the best of my knowledge. I have a lot of people would consider, my wife's actually Aramaic. A lot of people would consider her Palestinian Arabic. If you've heard the shows, you've heard all this. It doesn't mean that makes me some expert. It just means I know enough to know that I don't know, right? I've been to Israel, all of that. I think that what I've heard from reports is this attack by Iran was well announced. They had lots of notice. You had other people, whether it's America, France, other people helping intercept this, that Iran basically used the slowest and the loudest of their drones, and that the attack cost tens of millions, but the response cost over $1 billion, if not billions of dollars, and pretty much depleted again, I don't know anything. I'm going off of public reports, news reports. But that it may have depleted or significantly depleted the anti-missile defense of Israel. And even with that, they were able to hit some targets to basically let Israel know, hey, we can hit you. Doesn't matter how many people are helping. We can hit you with our stuff, and we haven't even used the best stuff. Now, you've already seen Erdogan and Turkey say some different things. And again, I don't know. I'm no military expert, but here's what I would say, and we'll dive into it. Obviously, the second block is going to be all about this. But here's the headline, and we'll get Paul's quick comments before the break. They need to find a way to peace. Period. Israel cannot win a conventional regional war. Can't do it. Not going to happen. You know, if they use the Samson option, oh my gosh, and you know, it could be World War III. Who knows what we're going to be dealing with? Okay, that's not really feasible either. Everyone's got to find a way out of this. I have some ideas. You know. I mean, I guess I may not be a Nikki Haley, but I can go stay at a Holiday Inn Express if that helps. I don't know. But I think I've got some foreign policy ideas here. You don't have to look too far to see some examples of things going right. If you look at what's happening with Dubai and you countervail that to Israel and the growth and everything there, I think we have some good models there. I think we were on the right track with the Abraham Accords. I think there's a lot of things going on here, and we have to find a way forward. We only have 1 minute left here. We're not going to be able to solve it, or less than that. Paul, quick comments before we get to the break, and we'll definitely dive heavy into this in the second block.
Yeah, look, there's a lot to discuss on this. We're going to do that. I agree with you. I think Abraham Accords and the example of Dubai and the United Arab Emirates is a good one.
That's it. Okay. Hey, stay tuned for this. You're listening to John D. Villarreal radio show here on Newstalk 1040 and also live on Rumble, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and Facebook. We think LinkedIn. We're not 100% sure, but I'll repost it there. Stay tuned. We'll be back in 6 minutes. We're going to talk about this Israel thing. We're going to lay out the plans. We'll see you soon. Hey, we're back. It's me, John D. Villarreal, on the John D. Villarreal radio show here on Newstalk 1040, live on Rumble now, YouTube, Facebook, X, hopefully LinkedIn. Not totally sure that's working right now, but I'll repost over there. It certainly can be. We're joined by Paula Villarreal. We're talking Israel. This is going to get a little complicated here. We talked about how, in our opinion, or my opinion, I don't think Israel can win a conventional regional war. We'll get to that in a second. And that that we need peace, and that the model is Dubai. Now, I'm not telling Israel what to do. I'm not a military commander. I don't have any inside knowledge. I'm just going off reports. But I am a super genius, right? And I think that it doesn't take a genius of any stripe to see what things were like under President Trump and what things are like now. And we do have some different things. There are some stuff here from NBC News. We will share that here again very quickly here. And we're looking here on NBC News. And it was talking about what's going on here. And they're talking about expanding the 360-degree partnership between their different countries and stuff. And he's talking about what's going on and what's the context. And basically Israel, that quote, a headline from NBC News is, an Israeli response to Iran's retaliatory attack may be quote unquote imminent. And that they're weighing the next steps after a meeting of the war cabinet today. All right. Now, this is pretty crazy. And there was, I guess, an emergency meeting of the United Nations Security Council. And Iran is saying that they do not want further escalation. They're ready to respond if Israel responds again. So this is kind of the deal, right? We've been here before. We've been here for quite some time of this back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Now, and we talked about how President Trump and others have talked about that Israel needs to wrap it up, and that Israel's losing the PR war with the 6 months of war with Gaza, which was a response to the horrific and tragic events of October 7th, 2023. And I talked about how my wife's Israeli. A lot of people will consider her Palestinian Arab. She's actually Aramaic. Our family's roots go, and you can trace it all the way back to Sephardic Jews out of Barcelona, Spain, I believe. And I have lots and lots of friends that are Jewish and all of this, and know a lot of people now, and my contacts on LinkedIn and others that are Israeli and everything like that, and lots of Arabic, lots of Palestinian friends and contacts as well. Doesn't mean I know I'm some expert. It just means I have some insight. I've been to Israel, some insight. My take is this. Here's what's tough. And here's what doesn't work. And I'll because, Paul was saying we're talking for an hour and a half. Paul was like, hey, you got to make sense of this faster. No, it's fair enough, but it is very complicated. My headline is this. Here's the bullet points, and I'll walk through them. Number one, Israel cannot win a regional. I do not believe Israel can win a regional war with Iran, Hezbollah, Turkey, any of these other, if you get Turkey or Iran in, Israel's not going to win a conventional war in that, a regional war. I don't believe that. Number one. Number two, war is not good for anybody. I don't think this is good for the people in Gaza. I don't think it's good for Palestinians. I don't think this is good for Israel. I don't think it's good at this point. Number three, you have to find peace. You have to find a way forward. The Abraham Accords, and Trump was doing that. There's other ways you can deal with this. Trump's methods, I think, are better than Biden's methods. We'll get to that. Paul will lay some of that out. And I think he's got some good points there. I think if you look at models for what works, you look at Dubai. That's in the region. That's working amazing. You look at Abu Dhabi. Now Riyadh, Saudi Arabia is getting in the mix. You see all kinds of great events there, different things like that. Okay. Doing this situation, Israel's very, very small. This is not 1967. This is not 1948. This is not any of those things. What worked before is not going to work now. Everybody's got great weapons now. Israel's too small. Heck, Turkey's army just the army approaches a significant portion of Israel's entire population. Not going to win a conventional war. And Turkey's got a pretty good army. They got a pretty good army, dude. And what are we doing? Like, what is the end game? That hasn't been articulated. And a number of people have talked about that. You know, and you listen to some people out there, and I don't want to get into a back and forth because I just, you know, this isn't my thing, right? It's the back and forth. I mean, it's like, oh, they got to eliminate Hezbollah. And then someone has said this too. It's like, Hamas. It's like, dude, yeah, there are people. It's more of a concept. And even Elon Musk, you don't believe me? Look at Elon Musk. Elon Musk is saying, the problem of it is, he was asked this many months ago. He's like, the problem of this is for every Hamas person you eliminate, are you creating 1, 2, or 3 more? And someone said that Hamas isn't really an army; it's more of an idea. I'm not really totally sold on that, but I understand the point. There's really 2 different points. And all of these things are true. Yes, of course, Israel is our ally. Yes, of course, myself, Paul, lots of Americans, President Trump, President Biden, totally support, definitely support Israel and stuff like that. They're a great ally, only democracy over there. Love the country, great country, so startup nation. So many amazing things happen there. And historical ties to that land. There's 3 great religions have ties to that land, everything like that. Of course, the Jewish people, unfortunately, have been persecuted for thousands of years, need a homeland, all this type of stuff. But it's in everyone's interest to find peace. How do you find peace? This has been going on for a long, long, long time. And it's like Hatfield McCoy's. And some people are like, oh, America, you can't understand. Well, in some ways, we're the best place to understand. Look, we had a civil war which killed almost 10%. Devastated, like, swaths of the country and stuff like that. It just was so devastating. Visceral. Brothers fighting brothers, everything like that. And we found a way forward. Like, I think that Battle of Gettysburg alone was just brutal. Okay. I'm going to try to highlight this as fast as I can and get Paul right in here. So here's the deal. You probably have to have a 2-state solution. I don't see I don't see a really feasible way around that. Okay. This would be my highlights and who am I? I'm whatever, but you need a 2-state solution. Who gets how much land? I don't know. We need other experts to figure that out. But you need a Palestinian state. You need an Israeli state. You need Israel. Okay. Does Jordan give up land? Who knows? Who gives up? I don't know. I don't want to get bogged down into that. That's a very complicated issue, extremely important issue, but we need a 2-state solution. You're never going to make everybody happy in that. We have to acknowledge that. Borders have changed in the United States. The United States has only been here 240 years. You can always go back to some other date. We're here now. You have to get a 2-state solution. Now, part of this 2-state solution is the tricky part of it is Israel is a country built on religion and ethnicity, kind of, right? But particularly if you're going to, as it is now, right? I mean, you have to have a situation where everybody's treated equal. And I'm not saying they're not. I'm not making any allegations. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like here in America, nobody cares. Like you can be. It doesn't matter what religion you're. It doesn't matter what where you're from in the world or anything like that. You have to treat everybody equal and everybody with respect. I'm not saying that's not happening. I'm not saying that's not, but I'm just saying that's super important. There are some that are claiming that that's not happening. Okay. And that's an issue. I know things that I saw when I was there. I don't want to get too into that or whatever like that, but I would say that you can't have, I mean, again, I'm not, look, I apologize ahead of time. I'm going to make a mistake. I'm just telling you that right now. I'm not going to, I reserve the right to revise and extend it, but I'm just trying to, this is why this takes an hour and a half to lay out, because I'm just trying to be as careful as possible. But we also have to move. We do have a radio show here. You've got to have a situation where, I mean, I'll say this part too. Well, but if you have a two-state solution, you can't just have this super big wall and anything goes on the Palestinian side, and then they have the PLO that takes over, and Paul's going to come in here. He is a history major from Cornell. He's done a lot of deep dive in this. He knows a lot. We're probably going to have to go 2 segments of this because we want to do this right. And then you have Tucker Carlson talked about in this priest from Bethlehem about all the Christians leaving the Middle East. But you know where they're not leaving? You know where they're actually going to right now? Dubai and Saudi Arabia by a lot. So we're going to get back to that of the way forward here. So you have to have a situation where Muslims feel safe and respected, Jewish people feel safe and respected, Christians feel safe and respected. Everybody can visit their holy sites. Everybody can go wherever, and it's safe and easy and fair and all of these things. Palestinians want a state? Fantastic. Israel? So you have to have everyone, Iran has everyone has to step up and say, you know what? We're not going to try it. We're not going to say these crazy things about Israel. Israel has a right to exist. We're not going to say death to America and death to Israel and all this stuff. We got to stop that at the state level. You got to stop that. Israel has to, and Israelis and Jewish people around the world have to feel safe and secure. There's been a lot of vile stuff that has been unleashed since October 7th, and that's absolutely wrong, and that has to be condemned, and that has to be acknowledged. Flip it the other way. You can't have collective punishment. You have to have people feeling like everyone has the same equal rights and stuff like that. You have to have everyone have access to their holy sites. You can't have a situation where, it's you're going through these checkpoints and everything like that. And it's really hard to get to the checkpoints, and it's hard to get, when I was, and I don't want to say this, and I don't want to bring my wife's family into this or anything like that. I'll just say from my own experience. I don't like to fly. It was a whole thing to get me over there. I mean, I've done it a lot. It's actually not that big of a video for anymore. But anyway, it was the biggest flight I've ever taken for my wedding over there. All right, back in 2014, I guess. And I was there for like 10 days. And I first of all, it was all about the wedding and the family and everything, of course. But we have my family has got olive trees or something all over there on the Palestinian side or something like that. We've got land and houses and everything over there in Nazareth and everything. So I wanted to go over there and see what's going on. I was going to go with my dad, you know what I mean? And father-in-law. And I wanted to go to Bethlehem. Of course, I wanted to see all this other stuff. And I was told straight up, you can't go. It's too dangerous. You can't go. You're an American. You can't go. Well, that's a huge problem. That's a massive problem. You can't have that. You can't have that, dude. You can't have that in the holiest sites for 3 major religions. And it can't just be like, okay, hey, here's this wall, Palestinians, you do whatever you want to do, and all bets are off. It's like, oh, no, dude, that doesn't work. Everyone's got to step to the table here. Everyone has legitimate concerns, but I don't think anyone has been perfect in this situation. Whatever is decided. This is why I like what Trump did with the Abraham Accords and everything like that, and moving the embassy to Jerusalem. 7 presidents or whatever it's been, lots of presidents in America have been talking about this. He's like, you know what? I'm tired of the talk. Let's just do it. Some people are going to complain about it, but we got to move forward. But let's also do the Abraham Accord so that there's people, my wife's, family, I think they've got some extended family or something in Lebanon. You can't, Lebanon can't go. We need, now people who had Israeli citizens and doctors or dual citizens, that now you can go to Israel, you can go over to Dubai. I mean, we need trade. We need people visiting. We need exchanges here. We need normalcy. We need no more war, dude. So So it's like, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. You got to treat everybody the same. You got to treat everybody the same. Everyone's got to have an equal opportunity. People want to have respect. People want to have safety and security and opportunity for the family. It's all the same stuff, dude. It's not super complicated. Israel, you can't win a regional war. You got to, whatever the lines are going to be, whoever decides on all that, that's someone, that's experts, smarter than me on this and all that type of stuff. At that point, that's what it is. You can't keep doing this more settlements and stuff like that. I heard from some report like, oh, they're doing stuff in Gaza, and they took 2,000 more acres in the West Bank and stuff like even if, here's my point, even if Israel took all of the West Bank and all of Gaza, still can't win a regional war, still don't have security and stuff like that enough. Like, it's not going to, it'll matter. It's not going to materially matter. If you get into a regional war, the other, Turkey, Iran, these other people come in, whatever like that, you're not going to win, Israel, dude. You're not going to win. You do not have the people power to win. Just like Ukraine's not winning against Russia, dude. That didn't work out. You had NATO, I don't want to get into all that type of stuff. So you got to get an end game here. You can't just like the United States. We can't do what we used to be able to do anymore. We can't, roll over there and impose what we're going to do in Ukraine. We're already overextended. We've got a shortage of shells, 155 millimeter shells. Gosh, help us if China does something with Taiwan. Taiwan is like, dude, we are overextended. The world where there's one superpower or other, can just impose the will. Those days are done. People have to cooperate. And then you just skew over here and you look at what's going on. So you've got to find a way out. You have to find a way to a stable, lasting peace. And the only way you can think about doing that, in my opinion, is a two-state solution with full rights, full respect, full opportunity. Every religion can see their sites and everyone's cool and people sign on to a peace, and you have that peace enforced by all sides. You got to stop this craziness. Well, you did this and I did this, and the Hatfield Accords, it will never end until it ends. It's got to end. And so this thing with Iran, I think, showed people, those that know that I've seen out there say, hey, this is a message that we can do what we want to do. We can get through your defense here, Israel. Meanwhile, you look at Dubai. Dubai is a Muslim country. And if I get anything wrong here, I apologize and everything like that. But but guess what? Anyone could go over there. To the best of my knowledge, I know so many people that have talked about going over there, or visit over there. They started out, it was kind of like, I had this analogy, I'm going to get it wrong. I'm going to bring Paul in here anyway. But it was like, it started out as like, hey, kind of like Florida, like, hey, it's a nice place to visit, come visit, this and that, whatever. Then it became kind of like Vegas. Hey, we've got great events and this and that, whatever. And now it's becoming like a tech hub. Like, this thing is it's on fire. They're just building stuff all over the place. Like, it's not hard to go over there and work. You don't have to, it's okay if you speak English or different. You don't have to speak a certain language, stuff like that. Obviously it helps the more language. I wish I spoke more languages, but the point of it is it's super inclusive. They're bringing everyone over. I'm not saying it's a perfect place. There's definitely issues with different things. We have our issues. Everywhere has their issues. But you look around the world, you look at Dubai, in that region, it's just on fire and it's killing it. And everyone wants to go there. Guess what? Christian population is going up in Dubai. All kinds of influencers going over there. They're having arm wrestling stuff over there, course sports. You're having, Tyson Fury fighting in Riyadh. Saudi Arabia is also doing stuff. Singapore is off the chain. You're having you have Cayman Islands. You're having different places that are really, really working. There's no war in Dubai, dude. People aren't stressed out about this stuff. Of course, they have their rules to flying out. Let me tell you something. I'm not alleging anything, but I've seen some videos. I've seen some stuff of the islands and stuff. If you're in a hotel and you want a drink, you can get a drink. You know what I mean? Like that place is just en fuego. Israel is startup nation. Israel has so much like good things going on and talent and different things and opportunities. Like there's got to be a focus shift here. Israel can just be is an amazing country. It's an amazing ally. It's doing so many great things, and it could be like 2, 3, 10 times better. But we've got to move forward. Everyone's got to move forward. And the region has to tell, the extremists on everyone's got to tell the extremists on all sides, it's done. We're not doing it anymore. I went a long way there. I hope I made some sense. Paul, I know I probably left some stuff out, and you have a lot more knowledge and depth in the history and stuff. So please step on in here. You got 4 minutes, and we'll hit it on the next segment as well.
Okay, first of all, so the Abraham Accords. The Abraham Accords were meant to, in my understanding, kind of calm tensions in the region, because the reason why they were seeking recognition from various Arab Muslim nations towards Israel. And the reason why there had not been recognition, is what my understanding, was because of the Palestinian issue, was because of the long-standing issue with that, and going back to the formation of Israel and the 1967 war and so forth. So what I think the Abraham Accords were trying to do was, instead of solving the issue of a potential two-state or not question, they were trying to say, look, before we solve that issue, let's recognize Israel and calm everything down. And I think that is the way to go about it. Now, unfortunately, that has been, I think we've deviated from that with President Biden in office. But as you mentioned in the Hatfield and McCoy analogy, and for those who don't know, the Hatfield and McCoys are like this legendary feuding set of families, I believe, in the Appalachian Mountains, that just basically just kept feuding generation after generation after generation, to the point where nobody even knew what they were fighting about anymore. And that's, of course, analogous to the situation in the Middle East. So the Abraham Accords was meant to kind of say, look, let's calm everything down and start to normalize things, and then we'll talk about what's going to happen with the Palestinians. That was my understanding of it. Those who and
Go ahead. Sorry about that. I'm getting the next clip ready.
Yeah, that's so yeah. Anyway, there are still people now who don't think that that was the way to do it. In other words, they wanted to use the leverage of recognition from these nations to get the Palestinian issue solved, to do a two-state solution or whatever the solution was going to be. I personally think that the Abraham Accords way is the way to go. Because if you're going to do a two-state solution, everything has to be calm before you do it. And what is being said now in Israel, I would imagine if you did an opinion poll in Israel today about a two-state solution, and if you polled the Jewish population, it would be about 99-1 no. And the reason why is because of 10-7, which is to say, if we have two-state solution, what if those people just start to mass up their power and do a repeat? And so that's why you want to calm things down before you do the two-state solution. It almost becomes a chicken and egg thing, though.
Right.
Which is to say, those people who are doing it saying, well, we only did 10-7 because we're oppressed. We're being held down, and that's why it happened. And so that's why in order for things to progress, you have to kind of, you almost need like an outside influence like Trump, like the Abraham
We need
Accords,
leaders to step
take everything down.
We got to take a break here, and then we'll be back in the next hour, and we'll dive deeper into this. Lots more to talk about here, and I think we can hopefully land the plane in the second segment here, or sorry, third segment, 5 o'clock hour here. You're listening to John D. Villarreal Radio Show here on Newstalk 1040, also live on Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, and X. We'll be right back. See you in 6 minutes. What's going on, everyone? John D. Villar here on the John D. Villar Radio Show on Newstalk 1040, live on YouTube, Facebook, X, and now Rumble. So that's very, very good. And of course, all over the greater Tampa Bay area here. Hey, it's tax day, April 15th, I believe. And we've got Trump in a courthouse in New York City, maybe now. But we have been talking about the Israel situation, the Iran strike on Israel. And we've been talking with Paul Villarreal. Now, I've got some more comments, but Paul, you were in the middle of some analysis. I want to bring you back in here. You only had a few short minutes before the break. Go ahead and continue your thoughts on that.
Yeah, let me just tell the audience, the 1040 audience, that President Trump just left the courtroom maybe about 20 minutes ago. And so the trial has concluded for the day. And so that is wrapped up. Now, coming back to what I was saying, so the two-state solution and the Abraham Accords, again, chicken and the egg. And how do you approach this? Do you take the temperature down first, then try to do maybe a two-state solution? Do you go right into the two-state solution? And like I said, because of the situation with 10-7 and the chicken and the egg, well, that happened because of oppression. Okay, but now we can't do two states because we don't want a repeat of that. And that's kind of where we're at right now. And so, look, somehow this has to be accomplished. We know that. I totally agree with that. I think with you about that. I think most people would. It just becomes a practical question. How do you do it? And that's why I think that the Abraham Accords were so good, because you were beginning to take steps in a positive
totally
manner.
Agree. Yes, go ahead.
And I know that there are people who didn't agree with that. Like, they felt like basically the argument was the Palestinians are losing leverage because you are giving Israel recognition before it does something for the Palestinians. That was the thinking. I don't agree with that thinking because, as you said, we finally started to see movement. We finally started to see some tranquility. And what you'll see behind the scenes a lot of times, or what is said to be taking place behind the scenes with some of these leaders of Arabic nations, is that supposedly they're not real big fans of Hamas, apparently. But because of their populations, because of how sensitive the issue is of the Palestinians, they might not be able to come out and say that. Well, doing the Abraham Accords let those leaders take steps forward to kind of normalizing things and calming things down in a way that may result in a positive outcome. Whereas, again, if the initial step, would you rather have the initial step towards peace be the Abraham Accords or 10-7? That's kind of like what I think the contrast is here. And so it's a very difficult position that everybody's in now. And I think, as you said, the ultimate goal would be a place like Dubai. I think Dubai and the United Arab Emirates seems amazing. I know that there have all kinds of investment and from foreign investment into the country, people buying up places there. There's all kinds of celebrities that go there, have places or second homes or whatever there. Everybody is welcome. Yeah, okay, there might be a couple, cultural things or certain particular laws, but basically it's a free place. You can, for the most part, do what you want to do. People enjoy it, and it's a positive place to be, I think, in the minds of most people. And it would be amazing if Israel could become that. And we just have to figure out how are we going to get from here to there.
Yeah, we definitely have to figure out how we're going from here to there, no doubt about it. And I just feel like, there's just a lot of myths that have been shattered by this whole situation with the conflict with Iran, and really even before that. I mean, if you look at the combination of 10-7 and the strike last night by Iran, I mean, you've got to have some questions on some on security and that. And again, well, let me put it. I think it just again puts big question marks into this idea, maybe by some, that Israel's the military superpower over there and can just do whatever it wants. No different than America can't just do whatever it wants. No, nobody can do whatever they want anymore. It's just a different place. It's a different world. And a lot of people don't realize, we went from Tel Aviv, which is like pretty central north-ish. I'm not, super expert, to almost all the way. Sorry, excuse me, south rather. Excuse me, central south-ish to up to Nazareth. This is way in the north in like 3 hours with like 3 checkpoints and stuff like that. This is a small country. This is a very small country. You could probably go, and that's up and down.
Can I just say something? I think Israel is basically the size of New Jersey.
Yeah.
Just to give people an idea of how big it is.
Yeah. Which is to say that not that big at all. And so, any level of serious security for Israel is going to depend on good relations and cooperation from the neighbors going forward. That's just what it is, in my opinion, as a non-military expert, but just, someone that can observe these things. It just, that's done some reading and stuff like that. So again, how do you go forward? You look at Dubai. Now it's still the case, and I'll share this here. I can't find that chart I wanted to show of. I'm looking through the Tucker. I don't know if we're going to get to it, but there's a chart that I think that he had, or I think that I saw, that was basically like Christians living in the Middle East in percentages, and it has gone down in Syria and down down in Israel and down in Egypt and whatever. I think it was basically down in almost all the countries in the Middle East. The 2 countries that it's going up a lot, Saudi Arabia and Dubai, or places, areas, whatever, UAE, I guess. And if you look at the per capita income, and I'm not saying this is everything, in Israel, it's actually quite high. It's very high. If you look at this, it's like, I think it's, let me see if I can bring this on the screen here real quick. Sure. 1 second. I believe it is, let's see here, like 54,000. This is in 2022, $54,930.94, which is huge. Okay, that's very, very big. Now compare that to the United States. So it's basically as big as Canada. And you see Canada has had a drop here, and Israel's really gone up tremendously. The United States has spiked up. The United States is basically 76,000. Okay, so that's pretty, that's pretty serious. But now, if you compare that to Dubai, and it'd be kind of cool to get, a side-by-side chart might be sort of interesting on that one. With Dubai, I think you've got, I don't know what this is here. Yeah, you've got this thing. Wow, actually 2022. Now Dubai, now they're saying Dubai's 53,708. And you can see, let's substitute. I don't know, small numbers here. You can go on the trend lines here. You can see things are going up very, very quickly for Dubai. Now I've seen different numbers in there. So, but we'll go off of that. And that's very, very strong. Very strong. Now here's a prediction here of the UAE. This is Statista. Let's just see if that has anything different. And you can see that there's just this, I guess there was some down spot here. And of course that's COVID, right? Probably pandemic, probably. So that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. But okay, 2022. So it's shot way up. Okay. So basically 2021, you had 43,438, 2022, 51,399, 2023, 50,602, 2024 is predicted to be 52,406. So, and then at 2028, it's predicted to be, 59,306. So basically you've got a situation now where Dubai is basically at the same level or about to eclipse Israel. And Israel's known as Startup Nation. They've got Technion there. They've got so many, Sheber Tel Shamir, one of the top 10 hospitals in the world, or one of the top hospitals. They have so many different things over there that are fantastic. But you have a different environment. And it reminds me again of Regional Advantage by Annalise Saxenian, which is a dean at Berkeley, or was a dean. And I don't know what the current status is. And basically about why Silicon Valley took off in comparison to Route 128. And the basic tenet was that, there's different factors. You need, have university. What made a great tech hub? But at the end of the day, it was basically this cross-pollination and cooperation and sort of open sourcing, if you will, that basically, non-competes are not legal in California and stuff like that. And, I'm not licensed in Florida, not practicing, no attorney conflict, blah, 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 licensed in California. And I'm not giving any legal advice. I'm a talk show host and all that, but non-competes are not enforceable in California. And you basically had people, if you work for Intel, I work for AMD, we'd sit down, hey, what are you working on, whatever. And people would work on stuff. You had everyone from all over the world working on stuff. Nobody cared who you voted for. Nobody cared. And now it's a little different now with woke Silicon Valley and everything. But at that time, nobody cared who you worked for, or where you came from. Nobody cared who you voted for. Nobody cared, what language you spoke, what religion. That nobody cared about any of that. What can you do? How big is the opportunity? And let's go. And how can I help? Like that's what it was. And it goes back to the same thing. And Paul he's like, yeah, this is like your 50% solution, not 100% solution. Exactly. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. When you've got a closed system, first of all, war, everybody loses. People, we're going to rebuild Ukraine. Good luck with that, dude. I mean, that's going to take a minute. I don't care that place is trashed. Unfortunately, it's sad. Hopefully they'll rebuild very, very rapidly. I feel really bad for those people like that. It's a sad, that's not good for anybody. How's Libya doing? How's Iraq doing? How's Afghanistan doing? Like, what are we like? That's not, you might say it's necessary, but it's not economically good. It might be good for certain sectors or certain companies. It's not globally. It's not economically good. Okay. So you got to avoid war, and you got to work with everyone, and everyone's got to feel like they have an equal opportunity. I was told straight up, I was like, well, because we're thinking about living in Israel and stuff like that. And I was told there's different jokes, and you can see different. If you want to have a little bit of money in Israel, you better come with a lot of money. There's that joke, and just the cost of living is high. And this isn't me. This is no anti. First, again, I'm part of. I can trace my lines back to Sephardic Jews and stuff like that, and I've got family in Israel. This is, you look it up. This is Haaretz. This is, I've done all kinds of research about this. And I'm not saying crazy. You have to have an economy and a system where everyone feels like they can make it. Tons of people, I've talked to my daughter's teacher in first grade. She lived and she's pretty liberal and stuff like that. She lived in Saudi Arabia for 7 years. She's like, yeah, made, different than here. Made a ton of, and this is 25 years ago, made a ton of money. It was really cool. Tons of people are going to Dubai. They're making a lot of money. They're having fun. Like, lots of people were like, I know lots of people have went to Dubai and made money or had fun or this and or want to go there or doing great and stuff like that. We need those stories in Israel. We need those stories in Palestine. We need those stories. Those stories should be everywhere. You look at Singapore. You look at Dubai. You look at different spots. I mean, Miami. That's a whole different. But I mean, Silicon Valley, obviously. There's places that are doing it right. That's it. There's places that are doing it right. You can't have a situation where, anyone, Jewish people or Christian people or Muslim people can't go to their holy sites, or it's a problem going there. It's a hassle going there. Or if you go there, they're going to be, catcalled or accosted or who knows what might happen. You know what I mean? Like whatnot. And you can't control it. I get it. But it's like, dude, Singapore, like there's reports like if you're littering, you could have a problem. you could have a serious problem. And I'm not saying I necessarily, but I'm just saying like there's a tone and a tenor. Like if you want to, set the tone, you could set the tone. Obviously you have to have, again, I don't want to get too divergent in this, but I mean, the point is the conditions for growth. Everyone feels like they got a shot in Dubai. Everyone feels like they got a shot in Silicon Valley. Except for maybe like conservatives now, that's a whole different. That's a 50%, not 100%. So I don't want to get swayed on that. But that's a problem too. That's why tech is not working right now in some degrees. That's Elon has talked about that. We've talked about that. That's why entertainment's not working with the Hollywood, with the cancel culture and all that. Those are all bad things. Now, if you look at different things, and again, I don't want to get too extensive into this. I did talk radio in Salt Lake City. I had a lot of friends in Salt Lake City. I've met some of the heavyweights in Salt Lake City and stuff. And, if be careful, I'm going to open up so many different cans of worms here. That place is very cool. That place has a lot of talent in there, a lot of great universities. I spoke at BYU and stuff like that at business school. But in my estimation, there's lots of land out there. There's lots of opportunity. I mean, you can do all kinds. That place is done great, but it could do so much more. It could be so much. It's very, very close. It's an hour and a half to a 2-hour flight, whatever it is, to Silicon Valley. Very close. It could be doing way more stuff over there. But, again, if let me put it another way. Look at the Miami Tech thing. What were my criticisms there? Don't have the infrastructure. Well, first of all, you had the movement being led by a mayor, which was wacky to me. It didn't make any sense to me. I didn't get that. I mean, I appreciate. I like, okay, kick it off and then hand it off. Okay, because anytime if you have to go through a political thing, if you have to anytime there's a filtering to exclude people or exclude talent, it makes no sense. Like if you see some of these job applications and stuff, like now I'm half Hispanic. I'm like my dad's granddad's and grandparent, my abuelita came from Mexico. Okay. And everyone in my family speaks Spanish except for me. I understand about maybe 30%. I should be working more on that. I'm not the greatest at languages, all that. But we were all born in San Antonio. San Antonio is that is the first major city from Mexico. Okay. When you come in, it depends when you're coming in, right? If you're coming into Monterey, stuff like that, that's what on one of the main, interstates there. Okay, great. Huge Hispanic population there. Has been that way forever. Okay. Heck, Texas used to be Mexico. Okay. So 40% Spanish speaking population there. I just talked to some people about maybe going back there and doing something, whatever like that. I'm sure it's out there. I'm sure they're out there. Don't get me wrong. But it's basically like very limited. I really, it's not even a thing like where, must be bilingual to apply, must speak Spanish, must do this. If you apply, and this was during the whole tech thing. The problem with the tech thing is again, you had being led by the mayor and stuff like that. So it felt very insider to me. It felt very cliquish to me. Very, very small. Number one. Number two is it was all the woke stuff. Yeah, bring the woke stuff with. Hey, woke. Oh, it's climate change and DEI. And it was all that stuff being heavy woke was being pushed down there. It's like, wait a minute, we're in Florida, like we're trying to get away from that. Governor DeSantis, what do you do? And then you're gonna run for president on the Republican side again. Last in, first out. I told you that wasn't gonna work. And then the third part of it is there was when you applied it. If you go look. Don't take my word for it. Go look at job postings in Miami-Dade. And I understand, like it's even more than it has even a higher Spanish-speaking population than San Antonio. I'll get to that in a second. But go look at the job postings. And I'm talking like professional stuff. It could be all at all levels, all kinds of stuff. And you're going to see a ton of must be bilingual, must speak Spanish. And on the one hand, it depends on the specific thing. Of course, that's an asset. I get it. But you won't find that in San Antonio. So are you putting barriers there to people coming and doing business there? Now, they didn't say that when it was like, hey, you know, bring all your tech companies over here. I mean, think about that. Like, hey, venture fund or benchmark, something like that. You can come over to Miami, but all your people here have to speak Espanol and everything like that. But wait a minute. We're a venture fund. We're going to do deals all over the country. Like, why? Like, that doesn't make sense. And of the 60% of people that are Spanish speaking households in Miami-Dade, a lot of them are second generation. And they also speak English. So over half of those stores speak English. So is this if it's a real job requirement or real asset, if that's a real thing, I get it. If that's some kind of barrier, any barrier that stops you from getting talent and stops you from doing business with your customers or your potential talent or anything like that is not a good thing. Whether it's in anywhere that it's in. Miami, Israel, Dubai, Salt Lake, Austin, doesn't matter, whatever. You don't see that in San Antonio, and San Antonio's blowing up, dude. It's blowing up. And I mean, it's just, in my opinion, Paul, you can have a comment on it real quick. It's just as Latin as Miami. Go ahead, Paul. Go, roll.
It is. I've been in Southern California, which is heavily Latino. It's not the same thing as what you'll find in South Florida. And that's my experience. Look, something else that's about inclusivity or exclusivity is we've talked about is Washington, D.C. in the venture game. That's a place where you have impedance in getting venture deals done, not necessarily from exclusion, but because it's so slow to try to do anything, the process there. So any type of thing that slows down anything that goes to the 50% rather than the 100% solution is not good in any situation, whether Paul, it's Israel, DC, or anywhere.
Absolutely right. And you're going to give you much more time in the next segment. Let me say this because you've said it before. You have a great point. You're a basketball expert. You've talked about, in your critique of Kobe Bryant. The problem with these things is it's anytime you get into this type of stuff, you take the focus off of winning and you put it on to who's winning. That's the problem. Anytime you're worried about who's winning, you're not really focused on actually winning. That's the issue, okay? I don't care what it's about. We got to find a way forward. We're looking for solutions right here on the John D. Villarreal radio show here. 3 segments down. Get ready for the 4th one. Going by Paul Villarreal. And, of course, your comments and calls if you want to call in. We're on LinkedIn. Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, and X, maybe LinkedIn. And, of course, Newstalk 1040. We'll be back in 6. What's up, everyone? John D. Villarreal here, John D. Villarreal Radio Show, live on Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, and X. We're talking about 50% solution, not 100% solution. We're talking about the way forward. Maybe Israel can be a little bit more like Dubai. We're talking to peace. We're talking all this type of stuff. Some of the things I want to talk about, just kind of put a point on it. And see, here's the thing. First of all, I love languages. I wish I knew Spanish. I wish I knew more language. I know a little bit of French, I know a little bit of Spanish. I can kind of fumble way through some different things like that. But we're talking about, and of course, if there's any job, if you needed Spanish for your job, then if you really need it, then fantastic. I get that. But here's the other thing: we've got a large population of Haitian people in the Miami area. What about knowing French? What about that? Do you need to? How many job postings do you need to know French? And again, if you need it, you need it. But I've done deals. I've had situations where I've had people, truckers or transport, picking up very, very high-end cars, and you had a Spanish speaker, and I was fumbling through a little bit. They pulled out the little phone, the Google Translate, and we knocked it out. It's that there's all kinds of ways around this. Now, if you need it, you need it. I'm not against it, but I'm just saying, make sure you need it. Whatever the requirement is, make sure that is a real, actual, serious requirement, and that you're not putting up barriers that don't need to be there. And I don't want to air someone out right here, but I saw someone that had done some, had been in business in South Florida, okay, and then moved to another location, was doing some high-end stuff, was hiring for a high-end job, and this location was in rural. Okay, it was in the south. It was rural. It was in a rural spot in the south. That's as specific as I'm going to get on that. I'm going to keep it pretty vague. And they're like, oh, bilingual, a big plus. What? Like, dude, you're talking about like the mountains of the rural south. Like what? Like what? Really? What? It made no sense. It didn't make any sense to me, dude. Especially if I got more specific, it'd make even more sense of what I'm trying to say right now. But it's just like, wait a minute, like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? It would be almost like me say, having a big a job in West Virginia, saying, hey, bilingual, a big plus. Really? I've lived in West Virginia. Have you lived in really? I mean, like what, like it's like, again, make sure you have real requirements. Now, countervail that to this. I'm going to put this up on the screen for those that listen on Newstalk 1040. This is I talked about this before. This is, we'll go here first. Indeed. This is Indeed. And we're going to take a little bit of a detour here for a second, Paul, just slightly. This is jobs in Dubai. Okay. Do I have this? Let me see if I can pump this up a little bit. Yeah, well, no, it's okay. Administrative assistant. You need to, all this. Okay, in consultancy in Dubai and stuff, and I have to look at the details here. Emirates cabin crew, at least 1 year hospitality, customer service, minimum high school education, cashier, count money, this and that. Let me see if I can. Let me punch through and try to drill down on this. Okay, here we go. Location Dubai. Receive stuff. You got to do this and that. Issue receipts. Do different things. Greet customers. Do this and do what we're looking for. We're looking for high school academic, 3 years in similar position, excellent verbal and written skills. Ability to learn fast. This is a cashier. This is customer facing in Dubai. Okay, an Arabic speaking country. Okay, have knowledge of all products. High interpersonal, motivated, work well under pressure. You know what I'm not seeing, Paul? I'm not seeing must be bilingual. It's wild because you've got all people, you've got the entire world over there in Dubai and stuff like that. And again, I'm not trying to hammer on that one thing. Sales assistant, Zara. Maybe that was just one thing. Let's see about this one. Here we go. Job description. You got to do all this type of stuff. Work in Zara is like a clothing place. It's big over there. 1 to 2 years customer service, high school education, ability to work in fast pace, cheerful attitude, communication, ability to work under pressure. No language requirement. No bilingual. Super weird, dude. It's super weird. Do you understand what I'm talking about here? Now but maybe, hey, you know what, John, forget it. That's just Indeed. That could be, maybe that's not the real thing. Maybe that's not accurate. Okay, cool. Let's go over here and let's go to Dubai's own site, home, Dubai Careers. Okay. They've got stuff for, they break it down here. So let's go to the experience section. So, okay, let's say you're an experienced professional. You want to go work in Dubai. What's up? What's it look like here? Okay. So now we do have the website in dual languages, right? Arabic and English. Fantastic. It's excellent. Anesthesia technician. Now, some of these are in Arabic. Okay, fine. But then you also see that it has the English underneath it. Okay, cool. Fantastic. Okay, so what about this? Let's just try, I don't know. Let's try this legal consultant. Let's see what that looks like. Legal consultant here. Okay, now this is all here in Arabic, so I would need to get that translated. Okay, so fair enough. No worries. All right. So, and again, if you need a certain language, then that's fantastic. I completely understand that. And this may be, now here we go. Now this one, anesthesia technician. You got to check the anesthesia. You got to do this, that. Here's the minimum qualifications. Bachelor degree in anesthesia technician course, 3 years. Diploma in nursing. Okay, you have to have some different training, 3 to 5 years. Required nationality, all nationalities, but they have priority for local people. Fair enough. I understand that. And look, you're going to see that in different places. You're going to see that in different countries. You may even see that here in this country. I'm not saying what, but you're not putting up. This is on Dubai's own site. I just went through 4 job listings. I don't want to take too much time in this. I want to bring Paul in. But Paul, do you understand what I'm talking about with this? And I'll bring in some more. I'll do some more when you're talking. Like, you're not seeing these artificial barriers. This is an Arabic-speaking country. It's in the Middle East. It's in there in Dubai. They've got people from all over the world there. They've got people from Britain over there, the USA over there, India over there. You've got all kinds of different people coming on over there. And now, after the Abraham Accords, you have people from Israel over there. And things they're doing business. They're wanting to do business. We had people. In fact, my wife's family was talking to me about after the Abraham Accords about how they knew doctors from Israel, presumably. And I knew another Jewish doctors or Christian doctors, whatever, trying to go over and do business in Dubai. That's how you do business, Paul. You do not put up these artificial barriers. A 50% solution is not a 100% solution. So you contrast these job postings. I don't know what they would look like in Israel. I know what they look like in Miami with this Miami Tech, stuff. It's a different deal. And everyone, I don't know. You go to all corners of here's the other thing about Miami. Miami has a large Russian population. Do I need to speak Russian? I mean, the more languages, the better, of course, but do not put artificial barriers up that don't need to be there. Dubai's not doing that. Dubai's on fire. If I went and look at Singapore, I bet I'd find the same thing. In fact, that's where I'm going to look next with Paul comments right here. Paul, go ahead. What's your comments?
Yeah, coming back to the analogy you made at the end of the last segment about Kobe, just so people understand what we're talking about here. There used to be Kobe Bryant, of course, the great and late great NBA legend. There used to be stories about Kobe, and I don't know if they're true or not, that supposedly Kobe he wanted to win, but he wanted to win with him as the star, with him scoring 50 points or whatever like this. And again, I can't vouch for this. This is just the rumors or whatever. So what John is saying and kind of applying to this situation is, if you are worried about how many points, metaphorically, somebody is scoring, that interferes with winning. You need to be focused on winning. And so that goes to what John always says about the 50% versus 100% solution. If the main concept is to win, is to succeed, is to have the best talent pool available for your country, for your business, for your project, you don't think about things like who's going to score, metaphorically, 50 points. You think about how are we going to win? The way that you win is by getting the best talent, whatever that talent is, whoever they are, whatever their background is, whatever their religion is. It doesn't matter.
We don't care.
You only
Why should
want
it matter? So it shouldn't matter at all.
Who is talented. And that's what I'm saying. So that's what we're talking about when we bring up the Kobe analogy, because the focus is, you want to focus on winning, not on individual statistics, because that can interfere with winning. And look, you see this sometimes. Like again, it's going back to the NBA. Sometimes you will see games that are like the game is over, but the person the player is seeking a particular statistic. So like there'll be like 5 seconds left and they'll go score a basket to get a certain number of points, or they'll miss a basket to get a rebound. That's not the way you do it. And that's not just the way you do it. And particularly when you're trying to win, you want to focus on winning. Look, I agree with all this. I think, as you said, I think Dubai is a very good model in terms of the Middle East and the progression that they're making. You mentioned Tucker and the Saudi Arabia. I think Saudi Arabia, as far as I understand, not that I'm an expert, is making progress in certain respects. And I think there's a desire in the region to move things forward. And hopefully everybody involved, the Israelis, Iran, the Palestinians, and other actors, can help make that happen, including the United States. Hopefully we can play a good and constructive role in helping to make that happen. And I thought that we did a great job with that with the Abraham Accords.
No, absolutely. And that's it. And we love Israel. We love everybody. We're peace, love, freedom, opportunity for everybody. We want to see everybody get along. War is not good for anyone. We don't want to keep throwing money at this type of stuff. You look at Dubai. Dubai's exciting. I would live in Dubai. I've talked to my wife about going to Dubai and stuff like that. Like, I mean, we love America. Don't get me wrong. We definitely love America. We're having fun in Florida, but it's like, dude, Dubai's an exciting place. It's doing amazing things. They're talking about doing things now in AI and tech. They are just doing more and more stuff. They are hungry for talent. They are attracting talent. They're saying, come over here. I've got a job posting here in Singapore, Paul, real quick. It's just another example. Accounts executive, freight forwarding, Change I, 5-day work week, $4,500. It looks like Amazon Web Services. Okay. It's $4,000 to $4,500 a month. It's an account clerk. They got some kind of bonus. 8:30 to 5:30 in Shanghai Business Park. Okay. They want a nice personality, ability to work in a team, team player, positive attitudes. Dude, that's it. Mature candidates also welcome. I mean, like, dude, this is what I'm talking about here, dude. I mean, it's a different deal. I'm just pulling this stuff up. Anyone can do this. Like, this isn't hard, dude. I don't get it. Like, we have models out there in Silicon Valley. We have models out there in the world. And again, like Elon Musk and what we've said, it's like, dude, we knew what Silicon Valley used to be, and it's gone way off track. What are we doing? What in the world are we doing, dude? It's absolutely crazy. And so we got to get off this war. We have to have a situation where everyone feels that we settle this thing. We got to move forward. 2-state solution, whatever it is. 1-state solution, 2-state solution. I think 2-state solution. I'm not super expert in that. If it's going to be 1 state, then I mean, for sure, everyone's got to feel like they are. I mean, listen, you treat people the way you want to be treated. Simple as that. Simple as that. I know it's super complicated. Then it's even more complicated by, like Biden's not getting along, allegedly not getting along with Bibi. Is, the Obama Biden folks a little bit more, inclined for Iran. And then we get into this whole colonization, oppressor, Marxist, cultural Marxist, just garbage. Like that's all, craziness and stuff like that. Like, we gotta, we have to solve this and move forward. And that's it. And in my, like we got to solve this and move forward. That's it. We can't have the whole world caught up in this. I don't want war. We don't want World War III in the Middle East. We don't want World War III in Ukraine. We don't want like you got to move forward. I understand. Like just enough of it. And that's kind of what Tucker was saying. I'm not saying I agree. I mean, I'm sure he doesn't agree with everything I'm saying. I'm not saying I agree with everything he says. That's kind of what Trump's saying. Like we didn't have these wars under Trump. We had a solution. People are moving forward. You don't have any time. I mean, it's not even that far away, and you see a world of difference between Dubai and Israel now. And Israel's an amazing country and has done amazing things and can do incredible things. But we got to find a way forward for the next step, for the next level. Paul, you have any final comments or anything you want to say? And hopefully we're not going to have, well, I guess, what's your prediction and what do you think, if you were Israel right now, what do you think you would do or should do in this situation?
Well, look, I think the latest information that we have on them is that they intend to have some type of response to the Iran attack over the weekend. I don't know what that's going to be. I guess we're all just going to kind of find out together. Like I said, I think that there has to be somehow something has to kind of allow them to kind of reduce the tension or the stress about being able to make a step forward towards some type of reconciliation. Look, I completely understand where they're coming from. But as you said, I don't think they're in a position right now nationally in terms of the consciousness to be able to make maybe good steps towards a resolution with the Palestinians, right? Figure out how they're going to get from A to B about that. But so I don't know where it's going to go right now. I mean, there's a lot of balls up in the air in the juggling game. So we're just going to have to see.
Look, it's tough. I mean, I understand. I mean, Israel's in a tough spot right now. I can only guess at the internal situation there. I think Netanyahu's in a tough spot right now. I think that, his relationship with Trump and the Republicans is very different than with Biden or President Biden and President Obama, in my personal opinion, in my estimation, what I'm being able to see there. You have that level of attack. It's hard not to. I mean, there's probably a lot of political pressure to respond. How do you do that? I don't know. I mean, and again, do we get half of it? Rand says if they respond, then they're going to respond. Like, I don't know. Where are we going with this? But I'm not saying I've got all that's a tough spot. I understand it. I absolutely understand the desire of Israel to respond. And it may not be politically feasible to not respond. But at this point, whether it's whenever that is, I think that all the players need to figure out how we get off this exit, how we get an exit ramp off this pretty quick, because it just feels like, and maybe we can wind down on this, that, and again, if we misspoke or anything like that, we apologize. If stuff like that, we are for peace, love, freedom, opportunity for everyone. We want to see everybody treated with, the golden rule: do unto others as you would do them to you. We want everyone treated with respect. We want everyone to feel like they got an opportunity. Like, we are wasting time fighting over the dumbest things, in my opinion. Obviously, these are very serious issues and holy sites, and I understand all of that. Security, I get it, but you got to find a way forward. You got to find a way. I find this listen. I've gone through this in my I don't want to get too specific, but I mean, there's times where I'm like, there'll be something, and then I look back and I'm like, oh, I wish I would have done this, or I handled it pretty good. I mean, maybe 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, but I wish I would have done 10 out of 10, or I would have done 11 out of 10. It's like hindsight's always 20/20. We always got to look for the higher ground and how to elevate our game and how to be more effective and more efficient. War is not solving anything for anyone. The idea that we can just wipe them all out and that solves everything. It doesn't solve anything. And then in some ways, I did the review on Fallout and stuff, and they were talking about some of this. It's like, dude, it never ends. It never ends like that, right? And, so here's the thing. Do you feel, Paul, what is Biden's response to this? And I think the Biden administration and the Biden campaign has really, Netanyahu's, I think, in a tough political spot. I think the Biden campaign's in a tough political spot. You've got a bunch of the voters there, in Michigan and others voting non-committed. You've got these protests out there. You've got Rashida Tlaib. You've got some other people out there. And meanwhile, apparently there's a little bit of a strained relationship with Prime Minister Netanyahu. What's your read on that?
Yeah, it's a very difficult and very delicate balancing act for President Biden, I believe. As you mentioned, we said at the start of the show, there are protesters out today. Now, there's protesters been out basically every day the last 6 months or however many months, but it's an escalated step today. So you've got to deal with those images. You've got to deal with the feelings of those people. You have to deal with the feelings of the people who are very much pro-Israel. I mean, you got to deal with somebody like Senator Fetterman here from Pennsylvania, who is demonstrably pro-Israel, and I mean, just more so than a lot of people on the right. But I will tell you this, as somebody in Pennsylvania, there's a heavy Jewish population here in the state, and there are many people here who are not Jewish who are very pro-Israel. So I will say that I think Fetterman represents the state pretty well in that position, but that's not necessarily where the entire Democratic Party is in terms of the voting base. So it's a very, very tricky situation that he's playing. And I know Marco Rubio, Senator Rubio, came out today, I believe it was Rubio, and said that apparently Biden leaked audio, or somebody in the Biden orbit.
Rubio did criticize that.
Talking to Netanyahu, and Rubio said, "Yeah, you're trying to play basically a double game. You're trying to appease your base by leaking this stuff because maybe he talked tough to him." So it's a very challenging thing for him. And look, I know that's probably going to continue up through the election.
It's a tough deal. And look, we talked to our family over there and stuff like that, and thank goodness everyone's okay. And people are worried, tensions are high. I get it. I just think that we have to find a way to cooperate. I don't pretend to have all the answers. Paul and I did our best here and stuff like that in the short 2 hours and hour and a half that we spent on it. But I think we have to have a new look forward of what cooperation looks like and what security looks like, and ratchet down, ratchet up the cooperation and the synergy, and ratchet down the division and the invective and the wars and stuff like that. And I think the Abraham Accords were definitely a way forward on that. And I think now, Paul, there's even Democrats or some Republicans or some people that didn't vote for Trump that have seen what's gone on now and say, hey, after this, I'm voting for Trump. Are you seeing that out there on X?
Yeah, I did see that. After the incident with Iran over this past weekend, I literally saw a number of posts from people saying, literally, like stuff like, and just like that, I'm on the Trump train. So there's just kind of this instinct like, look, this wouldn't be happening if Trump were in office. And so there's kind of like a feeling of safety and protectedness with President Trump that I guess people are not feeling with President Biden. And I don't know if these people are supporters of Israel. I don't know if they're afraid that World War III is going to break out. I don't know what their position is. But I did see on that day people saying, okay, now I support Trump. I saw a lot of that, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, it's going to be very interesting. I think this is a very crucial, important foreign policy test for President Biden, certainly for Prime Minister Netanyahu. I think, there's a lot of things going on here, and we just have to see, what it is. But we're wishing everybody the best out there for sure. And we're praying for peace and cooperation from everyone. And again, peace, love, freedom, opportunity, liberty for everybody is what we stand for right there. Okay. We did all right here. It's our first broadcast here on Newstalk 1040, the Newstalk John D. Villarreal show on Newstalk 1040 on Rumble. And we're kind of appreciate your patience on that, kind of working out some of the specifics, but we're getting better and better. We continue to try to increase platform, increase production value, and do all that. Appreciate that. Appreciate you, Paul. Appreciate the viewers and listeners out there on Newstalk 1040 and live on YouTube, LinkedIn. Well, we think LinkedIn, maybe. YouTube, Facebook, X, and Rumble. This is the John D. Villarreal show here on Newstalk 1040. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Stay blessed. We'll see you next week.